Hello there. Why, yes, I am on the floor. It's more recently vacuumed than it usually is because I vacuum a lot more often since I asked my mom to buy us one of those little skinny, light, cordless vacuums. It's so maneuverable and you don't have to lug it around. I love it so much. And now my floor is clean so I can lay on it easily without getting grossed out. The amount of cat hair that I sucked up the last time I vacuumed, oh my gosh. Anyway, it is the second week of the Blackathon, which means there's a bunch of prompts. And the prompt for the first day is to read 100 pages. And I have read 30 pages of Let Me Love You, which is one of my Kindle Unlimited reads that I signed up for just for this month because I was getting lots of recommendations that were available on Kindle Unlimited. And I'm really liking it so far. I think I've read maybe 50 pages of Ties That Tether, which I will review for you tomorrow because it's 6:30 right now. And I'm tired because I've just been subtitling. And I didn't do that much else today, but I am still tired. I'm also going back and forth from This Is My House to the house where I'm dog sitting, so I'll probably film there tomorrow. I will update you because I'm going to try to read just 20 more pages at least by the end of the day before I go to bed. But if I could get to 100 even of just this new book in addition to the other book, that would be cool. But I might not do that because I'm tired. But we're gonna watch the Olympics tonight, me and my mom, and probably my dad when he gets home from cutting up and packaging cow meat from a cow that we raised in our pasture. You probably didn't want to know about that. Figure skating singles is on tonight. So we're gonna watch it because my family, mostly me and my mom, loves figure skating. I made it to page 53 and now I can't decide if I wanna read in bed as I go off to sleep or if I want to veg out with some nonsense YouTube, like, you know, gaming YouTube or Tom Ska. But I'm really liking this book so far. It's got a famous person meets regular person trope, which I kind of have neutral feelings about, but I think I like the way that this one is going. I really like both characters already, even though I'm not very far into it. And both are single parents, and that is a trope or circumstance that I really like in romances. So hopefully we'll get to actually see more of their kids. We haven't seen much of them yet. They've just talked about them. So hopefully they'll get involved. But yeah, it's going really well. See you tomorrow. Hey there. So it is the second day of the second week of the Blackathon. So it's like the 8th. And I wanted to update you on Ties That Tether, which that is a romance that I started back in the first week, and I ended up enjoying it quite a bit. It has a pregnancy trope, which I don't really enjoy, but I really liked the first half where it was about the two falling in love. I liked that part. The second half was more about them staying in love or struggling with the main lady's issues, because her mom wanted her to maintain the culture by only marrying someone of the same culture. The daughter has to deal with a lot from that because, you know, she's been raised to be very dependent on her mom's approval, so it's a really big deal. And I really liked them showing how she overcame that, but actually reading about it wasn't that pleasant of an experience. The actual parts that were about them bonding, I really like those. So I recommend it, especially if you don't feel negatively towards the pregnancy trope. Hey there, so it's Wednesday, and I was wrong about the Instagram challenge for today. Today it's a book stack, which is good because I've already done that. But I did also find a quote for tomorrow, which is from Beverly Jenkins' book Forbidden. It's somebody encouraging the heroine to smack the hero over the head with a frying pan, which I just really enjoy that, and it's fairly indicative, classic for Beverly Jenkins heroines. They tend to be that kind of girl. Oh, but today's challenge for YouTube is to watch a movie directed by a black person. Then I typed up happy movies directed by black people, and came up with several movies that I had already watched, such as Into the Spider-Verse, which that last one I only watched because I watched it with the kids I babysit, but it was pretty good. But I really love Black Panther, so I think I'm just going to watch that, especially since I'll be watching several new to me movies on the Saturday watch-alongs, hopefully some of which will be happier than the others. I actually looked up a plot summary of the second one, Da 5 Bloods, and now that I'm forewarned, I think that one will not make me sad. So, that will hopefully be good, and I'm going to enjoy myself watching Black Panther and painting some little clay earrings that I just made. What I'm reading today is Beverly Jenkins' Wild Sweet Love. It is about a former bank robber who is being rehabilitated after an early release from prison because she saved a prison guard, falling in love with a banker. So that's fun. I'm taking a pause on the other one because I felt myself kind of slowing down, getting slogged down, and I want to, you know, be reading as much as possible, and Beverly Jenkins is pretty much always a pick-me-up. See you on Thursday. So update, it's Thursday, and I've just taken a bath. That's why my hair is like that. And I've got Pip-Pip here. Yeah. And I read Let Me Love You while I was in the bath. And I also took a couple of quizzes. That's the prompt for today, to take a particular quiz, but it wasn't linked, so I just searched some quizzes. So I took a films quiz and a history quiz, and I got 4 out of 9 on the films quiz, which I guessed entirely, but I was somewhat good at guessing because there were multiple choice of 4, and if I had just randomly gotten the right answers, it would have been like 2 or 3 out of 9. So I was slightly good at guessing, but there were only 9 questions, so like they were a little more obscure than the media that I've been exposed to, and they were all like 90s and before. None of it was like recent stuff. And then the history one was mostly focused on civil rights era and before, so like 60s and before, so like freedom rides were brought up, which I remembered the name but didn't remember what they were. And like the names of different people who did specific things. And I recognized some of them. Obviously I got 50%, which was another 4 choice per thing, so I did slightly better at that. But the good part about that is it prompted me to go do my own research, so I like Wikipedia'd a bunch of the things that I didn't know about, and then like did a little one of those dives where you just click another thing that comes up in the article. So that's what I did today. I also did tomorrow's challenge, which is to listen to a certain podcast that I'll link below. That is a horror podcast where the stories are written by black authors, and it was thoroughly creepy and like well narrated and, you know, a good short story. It was only 23 minutes, which was good because I don't like horror as a genre. Also, you should appreciate my shirt. It's my Pride shirt that I got last year, Pride Month, and I really like it. And there's my cat. Black Panther was good yesterday. After I watched it, it was good. I love Black Panther. I might do the next 2 days challenges ahead as well because I want to edit on Sunday. So I'm feeling kind of jazzed up, possibly due to a new medication that I'm taking that is a supplementary antidepressant. So I'm going to use that energy to dust all of this, take all these pieces off and dust everything on this shelf, because that's been needing to happen for a long time. And while I do that, I'm going to listen to Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, because I've got the audiobook of that and I'm really enjoying it. Okay, so the last challenge of the week is to draw a book cover from a Black author by memory, and I'm going to go with A Song Below Water, because that one's very distinctive and I've looked at it a lot, so I will probably remember most of the features. I'm going to use crayons, because that's a good excuse for it not to look very good. I think the text is... Oh, and I'm starting with blue because I know the background is blue. Water... I used two different fonts for some reason. Okay. We'll put the edges here. And then we have lots and lots of hair. She's sort of a dark brown. Do we have any darker browns? One sister has hair that's down and wavy. Let's do the outline of the face. Like that. Okay, and one sister has hair that's billowing, whoosh, 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 whoosh. And one sister has braided hair. So, like, this is how I've drawn braided hair since I was a kid. I don't know how good it looks. Maybe not so great, but whatever. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. Let's do an ear and an ear. Da-da-da, I'm pretty sure they have brown eyes. Braided hair. Girl has a little necklace with a bottle with pink shell in it. And I think there's some golden jewelry going on. Maybe a necklace over here? Not sure. But I think they have blue outfits. Okay, let's get the actual cover of the book and see how bad I did. I completely forgot about the seaweed, and I thought the title was in yellow, but the author's name was in yellow. The title was in white. And I didn't do any bubbles. And I got the one gold earring, but this earring is supposed to be big and blue. And I got the necklace right. I remember that very specifically. And this sister is wearing blue, but this sister is wearing white. And they both have blue eyeliner that I missed. But yeah, mostly at least good enough for a drawing challenge. Okay, so a wrap up for the week. I've read about 1,300 pages. I finished Let Me Love You and also another novella called Irrevocable Love. Which is by another author and is another KU book. I'm trying to do like a sampling of authors to see if there are any of these KU authors I want to stick with. And that's a total of 6 books in 2 weeks, which is not very fast reading for me. And none of them have been like, oh, just one more chapter keeping me up at night. They've been enjoyable, but they haven't been like super... I must keep reading this all the time type things. So, Let Me Love You. I talked about it a little bit. It is about a single mother who is divorced whose ex was a jerk, but who now lives well off of the divorce settlement and alimony because he was rich. And she doesn't need to work, but she has a job. And through this job, she meets a rapper who buys some custom jewelry through the place where she works. And she is very unimpressed with him when she meets him, and calls him out for insulting her, and he appreciates that she stands up to him, and also he thinks she's beautiful, so he invites her whole workplace to a party hoping she'll come along. And when she doesn't, he bumps into her at a club, and from there they get more connected, and he asks her boss to have her make another custom piece for him for his daughter, because he likes to give his daughter extravagant jewelry because he's rich. And he is also divorced, and his daughter mostly lives with his ex, who's also not a nice person. And what I liked about this one is that while we got to see them falling in love, there wasn't a lot of conflict between the two main characters. Most of the conflict was with outside forces, and we got to see the characters facing those together. And I really like it when a romance does that. There was a little bit of ableism in that the heroine's mom has what's described as being, from how it's described, I assume it's bipolar disorder, and she calls her mom crazy and doesn't like ever walk that particular phrasing back. And I thought from how the book started, by talking a little bit about how she got some of her mental health issues from her mom, that would be more addressed, but it really wasn't. What was addressed was that she felt like she was unlovable or didn't deserve love because of having a bad childhood and then having a bad marriage after that. And so Let Me Love You is an apt title because it's a lot about the hero wanting to love the heroine and her not feeling like she deserves that. And there's a little bit of that on his side as well, because he had such a negative experience with his ex-wife, but it's mostly on her side. And then Irrevocable Love is about a lawyer, and what does she do? She is a museum curator who works at a Black-centered museum, Black history. They arrange to get together to get their parents to leave them alone, and end up becoming interested in each other. So it's a little bit arranged, and there's this whole mystery about the hero's dad, because he knows that his stepdad, who his mom is married to now, and who is the father of his sister, is not his father. Why they told him that much and not more than that, I don't know, because the mom does know who his actual dad is, but she won't tell him, and so that's a mystery element. But it's just a novella. It's only 170 pages, so there's not too much going on, but I really liked these characters and their whole relationship with each other. But this one also had an ableism problem. There's a character who was intellectually disabled, and that was handled really badly in my opinion. The specific circumstances are spoilers, so I will put it way down in the description or something. But I'll also be putting it in my reviews on Goodreads and Amazon with warnings, because that was just not good. But other than that, I liked it, so I'm willing to give this author another try and hope that none of the other books will have that aspect to them. Oh, and yesterday I listened to these spoken word poems that were some recent days challenge, and the first one I didn't like that much. It was about To the Girl at Starbucks, and that one felt like way too much emotional investment in a person you've never actually spoken to beyond giving them your coffee order. But the other two I really liked. One was Why Are Muslims So, and one was To the Soft Boys, or For the Soft Boys. So I'd love to know what you've been reading, if you've been taking part in the Blackathon, if you've been taking part in any other readathons this month. What's your opinion on spoken word? I kind of like it like I like poetry. I like some of it and some of it not. I have like very specific tastes, and of course people have like different qualities of performing, but a lot of times it's not exactly that gets to me. It's more like less the quality, more the specific meaning that's being conveyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!